All right. First video, introduction. We are Corrupted Cycles, located out of Manchester, Connecticut. And what you folks are staring at is a 2007 Dyna Street Bob. Looks, used to look like a nice bike-ish, something like that. What you're looking at is my bike. Figured best bet when you do your first video, you'll want to go ahead and introduce people to something that you know. I don't know shit about this, let's be honest. They couldn't give me much on it, and as much as I'd love to know the original owner of this bike, see where its progression went over the years, I can't. Unfortunately, when you buy something from a dealership, it's not typical that too many people are going to ask for the original owner. So in this case, this is mine. Yeah, this fun stuff. Fun times. As you can see, primary has been completely pulled off. And what originally went with this bike, what my concern was, after finally getting this bike from Harley, I bought it from them directly. This was a bike that had not been safetied. I found it when Harley had a sale going on. They'll have multiple. No matter where you go, Harley's going to have many, many, many sales. They usually do, just to generate business. And you know what? It's probably a good tactic. They're probably not doing much else at that point in time. And that's not talking crap. That's probably, every dealership, if they could afford to throw some kind of sales event, they would. But in this case, Harley at the time had listed up on their website 2 Dynas. No pictures, just stock numbers. I don't even know if this one had mileage. I honestly don't know if they both had mileage. But me and a buddy went there. We checked them out. The other one was stock. Probably the smarter option to buy. Nothing done to it at all. So clearly I would have honestly thought that someone just rode it, parked it. I think it was 2 years newer. And it had like 6,900 miles. This one, same price, 2 years older, and 29,000 miles. Yeah, shake your head at me. Shake your head at me. I know, all right? But then I already knew what it was going to take to do most of the stuff that was already done to this one. And I was like, you know what? I saw this. I heard it run. And I was like, all right, I'm sold. I dig it. I like it. It took them a little bit to get it safetied. It needed tires. Brake light did not work off the lever, and that little guy, let's get you right there, just didn't send signal back when the lever was engaged. So they fixed all that. They got me a new front tire. Took them about 2.5-3 weeks to get that tire for that 21-inch, and then I got brand new rubber all around. I actually had to somewhat argue. I didn't argue. They were kind of forthcoming. Assistant finance manager was not really willing to give it up when I asked for it. Finance manager, on the other hand, said, yep, pull the trigger, get it done. Cool. So I had it for, I would say, maybe a week and a half, and I started to notice the primary was howling a little bit. And I asked them, my salesman, I was like, yo, would your finance manager be willing to comp an hour and have your service department look at it? I never got an answer back. And to be fair, I get it. I know how the business works. Cool. You get busy. I wasn't going to pursue it. Like I said, I know how it works. So I kind of let it die. I was like, it's not worth my time to really go over it. I mean, dude, look where we are. Look what we do. So I was like, all right, bro, I'm just going to rock out with it until it becomes knowingly concerning. Fast forward, noise gets louder, and I find out oil filter wasn't tightened all the way. Yeah. Fun stuff. The whole belly of the bike was coated. She was never going to get any rust under there if I kept riding that. But then again, she probably would have never stayed running. Well, I would say probably about 2,000 miles in, one day I am riding through a stoplight and my back wheel starts to shimmy. And I was like, oh, well, that's new. So no ride, no help. No one can come grab you. You're stuck on the side of the road. You got a 17-mile trek ahead of you. Trek ahead of you. And what do? You ride it. You ride it 10 miles an hour with your hazards on and hope people don't, nail you on the side of the road. I made it, but the cost, folks, the cost. We already knew she was crunching. It took me a little bit to figure out what was going down. I hadn't experienced it myself before. And yeah, that's the remnants. That just came apart like that. Most of the guts were gone. So, fun fact, buying nice aftermarket wheels, they are made in China. And you know what? I have been lucky with some Chinese products. Cool. But what I did find is that a lot of things are, as you would guess and figure, cheap. Here's your factory spacer inside your rim barrel. And that's from Harley. Fun fact about this as well, discontinued. This was the only one that I could find within at least the dealerships that I had closest to me. One happened to have one in stock. If no one already knows about Harley Dynas, anything 17 and older, gone, baby. You ain't finding no parts, not through Harley, unless you get lucky and you get that one little chance percentage of a new old stock part still remaining. That's a 15, and I still couldn't even find transmission parts for that last year. Fun. I hate you. But, yeah. So, this one. We're going back to this spacer here. This is the one that came with it. And if you haven't noticed, she's missing some love there. We're going to say love. And you can tell the difference. This is a 5.5-inch rim. This is, on this side right here, meant for a 17-inch standard Dyna rim, an aluminum one. And that's what this one supposedly came with. What I did find out, honestly, probably wasn't the, some metal. Ow. The failure wasn't actually caused by poor material. When I got the bike, I got it just as it was. I didn't touch it. I didn't take it apart. I figured, you know what? Trust what they did at Harley when they finally went through it, and you should be fine. Honestly, it's a very poor way of thinking because that's your life. But if a dealership is willing to put themselves behind their work, I'm going to do a full send on it. That's the only chance you have. If you can't trust a dealership, what do you got left? So this wheel, every time you move this bike, neutral, off, you would hear it squeak. And what ended up happening, I didn't verify the torque spec on this. I put it to 70 foot-pounds after I put the wheel back on, and it rode like butter, quiet to the T. Just absolute smoothness. I felt instant pickup. It felt smooth, like it wanted to go. Now, what happened was 70 foot-pounds is incorrect. Harley spec is 90 foot-pounds. I did end up going back onto it and torquing her to 90 foot-pounds. You move this bike around, it squeals, it fights you, it does not like it. Not at all. It puts a lot of pressure on those bearings. So for those of you that do have these wheels, honestly, I did reach out to a couple of companies, and for the simple fact that I did not buy anything other than this wheel, and I did buy it actually used from one of them, just mainly because it was actually nicked on the rim. Half the cost. I said, you know what, I'm on a budget. I'm going to rock out and see what I can find. And I happened to find one that was brand new, just literally, we're talking like 5 nicks. You hit it with some nail polish or something. Like, I don't care. This thing's going to get dirty and coated with brake dust. This thing's been caught in the rain ever since I've had it quite a few times now. I think maybe a couple hours in total. One of them was actually a whole hour ride. Not fun. But in this case, the companies, no one wanted to answer anything. Even the company that I bought this one used from, they were absolutely useless. They could not help me in any shape or form. I'm honestly, I feel fairly certain that whoever was running it was unhappy that I purchased a used wheel instead of a new, even though I know they were getting rid of stock that they just wanted to get rid of. The rim was true, balanced out beautifully, fantastic. But in this case, I went on my own experiment and I put 70 foot-pounds on it, She doesn't squeal. She'll run smoothly, and it doesn't seem to put pressure on it, at least to where it actually fights it rolling in neutral. There's that fun fact. So now we're going to go over to this bad boy. When this was making noise, I originally found the loose oil filter, which I have since changed. This actually started as a 3-hole, and when I went through and did the oil change on it, I was like, look, let's open up the primary and finally take a look at that, see if we've got something to be concerned with. So oil was a little silver, not too much to be concerned. Honestly, I didn't even know how old the oil was. I already guessed that Harley did not service it. When I did ask them when I was there, they don't touch it if they don't have to. And for anybody that is not familiar with a dealership setting, they're going to sell you something safe. They're going to actually go through it. They're going to do at least the bare minimum so they can make a profit, but they're going to do it so it's running healthy at least as it leaves and it's safe. Now, don't stretch that. Don't find anything in between. You have to go through a checklist to make sure that a vehicle is roadworthy to be sold. You pretty much cannot, at least in a dealership setting, sell something dangerous or knowingly with, engine failure or anything like that. You can't do that. That's not how it works. It's a huge legal issue, and in most cases, if it's something safety stemming, it's a safety issue. And this is one of those cases you have less material around you to save you. So if something were to go wrong, there's a problem. So again, this was safety. It left Harley running. It was running smoothly. It ran soundly, and it looked good. Maybe a week after actually physically having it in my hands, that's when I heard that noise. And maybe about a couple weeks in, I did end up reaching out to my salesman, and I got nothing back. And I did touch base on it. Harley will call you and offer to buy your bike back or ask you how you're enjoying it, and they'll invite you to all their events. And I've got no quarrels with it. I get business. I'm really not going to talk crap about it. That's just business, bro. I get it. It sucked because the bike has been equally parts down as much as I've actually enjoyed riding it. Since I've had it, I've maybe put 2,500 miles on it. Maybe $3,000. 2,500 miles. Let's say 25. So that's as much as I've got to enjoy the bike, which is fairly good for, a couple months in between. I would say in total it's been down for a month and a half. A lot of us were hard workers. We ain't got money like that, even if it's for a used wheel, dude. I got bills just like everybody else, so I put money up for that used wheel. I got her done. But it took me some time. Originally, what actually held me up is I tried to save the old wheel. Harley in Hartford thought I could save it, but I went to Doc's out in Waterbury here. Absolutely awesome place. Dude, it's a candy store for grown men. That place is awesome. I brought my 2 kids with me, and one of the brothers that are working there handed my kids both Hot Wheels. You got my love for that. You made my kids happy. One of them is too young to even understand that he necessarily got a gift. My oldest, though, understood it and was overly excited. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. But back to what they had said, they took a look at that rim. They took a look at the interior. And while Harley thought I could save it, you got to remember, this was a set space inside that was manufactured that way. That's what's left of the material. I couldn't get it all out. I tried without marring it up as best I could, at least, but that didn't work. So Harley pretty much told me I was on my own with that. Doc's said that I could not save that wheel. You'd have to get it machined. And in order to do that, it's honestly too much math for me to want to even deal with. For wheels that are not worth anything, they are expensive, at least for normal human beings that work and don't have money saved aside for essentially a toy. This was cheaper to ride than doing my truck, but at the same time, this is also a form of enjoyment. So I couldn't necessarily justify stopping money for other things to get this thing running and keep it running. So fast forward to when I pulled this primary open, at least the outer cover, and it was a little silver, like I said. And I said, while I'm in here, let's change the clutch. On first, taking off, she kind of is very rough. So I was like, let's go with that clutch. We put a Screaming Eagle in it, resealed her. I think it was a quart, 1.12 quarts. Put her in full synthetic and rode it. The noise was worse. Can you explain that to me? It's just, this is one of those situations where you have a customer that says, ever since my mechanic touched my car, blah, blah, blah is wrong. You know, ever since the mechanic did this, now this is broken. And I know what I did. It's in the same area too, so I can point the finger at myself. But I know what I did. I literally changed the clutch, and it had nothing to do with any bearings. I did do a clutch adjustment. I actually ran it first. The noise was there. It was a crackle noise. It was a periodical crackle noise. I opened it back up off the Derby, and I did another. I went to adjust it. Same noise. So I was like, all right. I rode it. Noise was just horrible. Absolutely freaking horrible. So I was like, you know what? I obviously am going to suspect the bearing. The crackle noise makes sense. If a bearing's going, it's going to make that rough crack noise. So I opened her up, and I want you to understand, I put 100 miles on this bike in a week. And this is what that brand new oil looks like. That. Yeah. So, what I ended up doing is preemptively ordering this bearing right here, because I was solemnly hoping it was this bearing that was inside of here, and unfortunately it was not. So yeah, what ended up happening is the inner primary bearing failed, and that was our outcome. So yeah, this guy, you, I hate you. I want to light you on fire. You're not fun. It was causing a little dance to occur. They were making love in the primary, doing its thing. Surprisingly, a lot easier than some of the older Harleys from the early 2000s to do. I had to pull a starter out of a Fat Boy, and I hated it. I was miserable. This, it's cheating. It's not fair. My own stuff, I'm kind of happy at the same time, but, you know, what the hell? Come on, dude. So I gotta pull this inner race here. Gotta press that bearing out. Gonna get the new assembly for it. I'm gonna do a new tensioner too, just because I'm in here. I don't know how old that tensioner is, and honestly, the simple fact that this bike pulls harder. I've been on a newer Street Bob. I've been on one that has less mileage, and the torque and the RPM range is significantly less than this one. I imagine there's something done to this. I don't know what. Harley did not have any records of it, and I did not find a fuel pack tucked in there, so I don't exactly know. And she chugs fuel, by the way. Chugs it. You can ride it nice and smooth, and you'll maybe get, 100 miles out of a tank? And I think that's pretty spot on. But other than that, she'll drink and she will go. She's an alcoholic on a rampage. So, I mean, she's not overly fast. I've been on faster bikes, but for what she is compared to what I've ridden, it's definitely got something going on. So with that being said, I don't know how hard things in here have been, romped on. I think they could use some love, and that's why I'm going to go ahead and change a couple more things while I'm in here. Video is just pretty much as a quick look at even just a little bit of a personal life for us. We'll do some more stuff here and there, but this whole little hell is one of mine. The other ones that exist are, this one, I hate this. I hate this bike. Again, this is a 2015, mind you, and you still can't find parts for it. Discontinued. Like I said, it's just lovely. We're going to get the hell away from you. I hate you. That, mind you, folks, we are a car shop, or a motorcycle shop. We're not a car shop. But if you go to any place where you have, let's say a Volkswagen dealership for per se, you could find, let's say, an old muscle car inside. Technicians work on their own crap inside. on occasion. Not during work hours, but on occasion, a lift or some space is extremely helpful. And in this case, this was no exception. I do a little bit here, and they were nice enough to let me tweak with this ginormous waste of time. When it's done, it'll be worth it. As it sits, I want to burn my hair all off instead of ripping it out because I'm too lazy to even rip it out or deal with the pain. I dealt with enough on this as it is. So in this instance, we'll be looking more at stuff like this bike, some recommendations that I found over time. Everyone's got their own thing. We'll come up with our own when we talk with other customers. Folks are ready and willing and welcome to come on by if you would like. Check us out. We're very small. We're not huge. It's small owned. 2 gentlemen own it. We're getting into dyno tuning with Mr. Buckley over there. Dude knows his stuff. He's a beast. He's working on his own mess over here. Nice little toy. And we'll be going ahead and talking about some of the little projects that we've got going on to the side. The dyno will be up hopefully during the season, or actually the end of the season. It took us a little bit to go through to get that going. But once she's up, she'll be up. I already gave him my head nod to go ahead and romp the hell out of this and see what you can squeeze out of it. Or see if maybe the mapping has already been changed. See what he comes up with. I mean, why the hell not? It's not like it hasn't spent enough time down, and it is. That time of the season is pretty much over, so it's going to sit. Might as well put it to some kind of use. Other than that, we'll go over it some more. I will try and get you folks some updates on the types of fun activities that I get into here. Don't mind this mess, by the way. This is only my crap. Everybody else's stuff is a little bit more neater and stays a little bit more consolidated. Unfortunately, as I end up getting pulled to other things, you drop it and then you go take care of that and you come back. And unfortunately for me, ADD kicks in hyperdrive and you end up picking up something else and working on something else and you end up putting it down. Like putting on an air filter that doesn't need to belong on the bike because clearly the bike is not going to go anywhere anytime soon, but you found a good deal on it, so you decided to put it on. Like, it's totally pointless. But this guy, I will go ahead and work on it. We will see what I can get configured. This is my first time, at least for me, pulling the inner primary assembly and trying to pull that inner race off without pulling the shaft. My only concern is simply if you were to press that back on or smack it back on, if it were to somehow by any chance cause any damage from hitting it in. These things are under some pressure. They are under some force. But I don't think it's the consistency of being hammered in that way that's going to go ahead and happen on a daily basis. So I'm a little weary about that, leaving it in the bike. Again, we're already dealing with that. I've got a whole nother tranny for that. Those gears are fried inside, so she needs some new internals, which I did happen to find. Haha. So when I go ahead and get all that configured up, she also needs a compensator replacement. She is banging right at the block, but definitely not the actual engine. It's literally at the compensator. You can feel it at the compensator. It dissipates as you get more to this side of the engine block. So you're golden, baby. It's a lucky buy, I guess. Well, maybe. She was neglected and abused, but this guy here, we're going to be doing some more on it. Probably next week. I don't know if I'll get any videos. We'll see if I can. This is one of those instances where I have the unfortunate habit of getting something and then just hopping right into it. Again, ADD to the max, balls to the wall, doesn't wait for nobody. It's unfortunate. So by the time I think about it, I'm about halfway through or I'm done and go, oh crap, I wish I had done that. I do find it is a little bit difficult to waste the time, not necessarily wasting time, but to stop yourself and do that. And you would figure that would go along with ADD when you get an idea in your head to pursue that. But wrong. In that case, in my mind, it stops my mentality, that track that I'm already on, getting the work done. So I will work on it as long as I can find it efficiently. That nice little level that I want to be at, we will do so. But for the time being, bear with us as we are getting used to this. This is the first video, and you could probably classify it as a rant for fun. You can make fun of me for getting got by a Harley on a bike. I was a sucker. I liked it. She still looks good. Ignore the dent. You never saw it, but those that have OCD and like their bikes a little bit, you will know it's there, and believe me, I know it's there. That's what happens when a strap lets go on a trailer and decides to let it fall. But fun fact, it only dented the gas cap. I don't know how the hell that happened and managed to miss the whole tank. Couldn't get any luckier. But we'll catch up with you folks later. Please enjoy my misery as one last look, and we'll be up to date at another point in time. Thank you. Leave some comments in the section below if you happen to find my pain enthusiastic to you. We will be glad to share some more of it. I know people seem to find it amusing. I sure as hell know my coworkers think it's hilarious. This is a part-time job for me, even though it's partially family owned, so I have a full-time, and they do find my pain and my misery very, very interesting and very amusing. So shout out to them for at least enjoying it. As long as I can make y'all smile, I'm happy. I will also give a shout out to Ellington Old School, the Parts Brothers. Bro, awesome. You got me before. I hope you see this and you get a good kick out of it. This hurts. This has progressed from what I told you it was. So we are going to experience some more pain. And you all know I'm going to be calling you soon. Everybody, it's late at night. Have a good one. We'll be reaching out and talking to you soon.